What's going on, guys? Bestman here, and I have a very special announcement to make. If you may or may not have seen on Twitter, it erupted earlier. Halo is on the winter season for Columbus, March 23rd, I believe, through the 25th, and prize money is 56K total. And I'm very grateful for this to happen, as I'm sure the whole Halo community is, that has been pushing for this for the past couple weeks, past month. We've sort of been on the fritz for a while since Providence. Our last year's numbers weren't that great for MLG compared to the past. So this is a very special day, and I'm going to be bringing you a question and answer commentary that I started to collect questions for last week, and I got a bunch of good submissions. And I thought today would be the perfect day to finish it, with Halo being announced, and I just figured it'd be the perfect time. And for today's gameplay, I have a Sanctuary TS against Warriors, and this came from a scrim when we were playing with Maniac. And Warriors consist of Snakebite, Clutch, Royal 2, and Dursky, and they finished second at Providence. And I think this is one of our first scrims, maybe online, since Providence, and we did pretty good against them. But I thought this gameplay is pretty enjoyable. I mean, I don't really do amazing, but I thought I played pretty smart and played pretty well. But anyways, first question coming up is from Kratos, and he asks, where did you come from, is my question, Halo-wise. Well, pretty much I got started back in 2005. I started playing at a friend's house on split screen. I didn't even have an Xbox at the time, and I was addicted to it. I just playing split screen, like Zanzibar, like One Flag, whatever playlist was back then that you could play split screen matchmaking with. And I asked for an Xbox for Christmas, and I got one, and then the rest was history. I met some people up from my school that I went to, Crosshair, Red Dot, T-Mackin, and they know Xena, which I'm sure everyone knows, and I just kind of like was a chain reaction from there. And then I started meeting all the VGA kids and Maryland kids, such as Defy, Mac, Vash, Thor, Burns, and then I just, kept stuck with it, kept playing, and I got a lucky break, and eventually teamed with Vash and Mac, teamed with Defy. Defy's my best friend right now. Like, I don't know, it was a crazy run, but that's pretty much how I got started, just playing at a friend's house, and now I'm here. Anyways, next question will come from Lethal TJ Campbell, and he says, is Ninja the best player in the game? Well, this is definitely a suiting question for Lethal, because he always seems to have a thing for Ninja, but I would have to respectfully say no. I mean, I think that Ninja is one of the great players in the game. He's obviously a pretty popular personality, and he definitely has potential to be the best player in the game. There's no doubt in that. I know he has things that he wants to work on, and I'm excited to see how he plays with no Bloom, because he was a fantastic Bloom and Sprint player, despite his placings not being so well. Next question would come from Joseph Rindu. He asks, do you know the Muffin Man? No, I do not know the Muffin Man. Next question from that would have to be Maniac. He asked who I'm teaming with. Well, that's very ironic, because I hope to be teaming with you. So, kind of an awkward question. If not, well, I don't really have any idea. And next question would come from Lunatic, or Brian McKenzie. He asks, as a pro, what do you think Halo 4 needs to have in order to bring Halo back to the game it used to be? Well, I think first off, plain and simple, it needs to have a battle rifle. I don't think the DMR really worked out too much for competitive Halo and even casual Halo. So I think it needs to get back to its roots of Halo 2 style. Even Halo 1 had the pistol, but that was just like a completely different game. Like, it's hard to compare any game to Halo 1. But I think if it gets back to sort of how Halo 2 was with the BR, and just simple things, and like not all this complex jetpacks and armor locks and stuff trying to be like other games. It just needs to be Halo. Next question is from Nick Grande, aka Thrust. He asks, is Alonzo Cantu the best coach you ever had? That would be the Warriors' current coach, and I had the privilege of him coaching me for one event, and I would say he is one of the best coaches I've ever had. He definitely is a cool dude, and he knows how to coach, so you can't go wrong with that. Next question comes from Mo819. He's from the NBA thread, which I post on probably the most on the forums, and he asks, why the Sixers? Well, why not the Sixers? I mean, we had Allen Iverson, and we did win a championship, and they were such a fun team to watch back then, and I've stuck with them ever since he departed and went to the Nuggets, and finally starting to pay pay back some of those trouble years I had watching him. I'm not like a casual fan and just hopping on the bandwagon. As you can see, glad I made this now. They just beat the Bulls, lost to the Heat, really can't beat them, and then they just beat the Lakers last night. So why not the Sixers? Another question would be coming from Zollers. Yes, is it possible to Defy will be making a comeback for no bloom, no sprint? I believe it's very possible that he would make a comeback. His current situation is he started school. I think he wanted to move on from his life, so I don't know. Maybe he would come back. I know he doesn't really like it that much, so I would have to save that for like a maybe Halo 4 question. Next question would become from Siren. Best and worst gaming decisions, mistake over the years. Your honest opinion where competitive Halo scene will be in 2 to 3 years, and do you like Tebow? So best and worst gaming decision I make. Best would have to be joining Triggers Down in 2010 after we kicked off Walshy on Carbon. It was me, Defy, Nated. So we kicked Walshy off. We were going to pick up APG. Then I left for Triggers Down, and it was kind of a risky move, but they had a lot of benefits for being on Triggers Down. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to take, and it ended up being a pretty good opportunity. The worst decision I ever made was not teaming with Instinct the very next year for getting a reach. It would have been me, Lunchbox, Roy, and Tots. Instead, I turned him down and stuck with TD, and we ended up making like 5 different team changes, and that didn't place well for the rest of the year. Second part of his question was where I see a competitive Halo scene in 2 to 3 years. Hopefully, back on top when it comes to the FPS and shooters. You know, as you see tonight, we got the Halo being on for Columbus, so I hope Halo 4 next year will be, you know, sick. We'll be back to the dominant figure where we used to be. And do you like Tebow? Yes, I like Tebow, but I don't like some of his beliefs and how he kind of shoves it down people's throat. I mean, I understand you're religious, you're Christian, you're Catholic, or whatever you may be, but you don't have to mention it 7 to 10 times in an interview. No, I know I might get some backlash for that, but that's just my honest opinion. And I think we got time for 1 or 2 more questions. Let's see. Here. Blaze asks, ranch or ketchup? I'm going to have to respectfully say ketchup. Another question after that. Hines asks, do you have a secret man crush on Tom Brady? Yes, I do have a secret man crush on Tom Brady, but unfortunately they lost once again to Elite Manning and the Giants, which is very unfortunate. But I'm really hoping for the Steelers to be coming out of the AFC next year. But I do love Tom Brady. I don't know. I guess I do have a secret man crush. Next question would be, is SK making a comeback? He just seemed to disappear. I don't know if SK is making a comeback. I would sure hope he would. He was a phenomenal player in Halo 2 and in Halo 3. And with the current settings being the way they are, I don't see why he won't give it one more chance to try to make it back to the top. I think we got time for one last question as this gameplay wraps up. MVP asks Josh or Mason or both, and he's referring to Josh as in Loco from the European scene. He was on Power last year, and then Mason as a neighbor. I would have to go with Josh. He's shown me a good time in my own country when we went out one night to the club, and he was an awesome dude. So that wraps up this question and answer commentary. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys are pumped for the 2012 Columbus Winter Season event, and I hope we can get Halo on every single event after that. And we need to keep pushing for it. Keep watching streams. No Bloom, No Sprint is exciting. Even I'm enjoying playing, and you guys know how much I don't play Halo. So I'm really hoping to see you guys next year, and talk to you guys later. Peace.